watching Great Deltan. Today is part 3 of the station build, which will look at the station building main complex. Now this video will be it'll be a completely different format to the other two, in terms that I've already built this and I didn't film any of the construction process due to me really not having much of a clue of how I actually wanted to build this or anything what the station would look like. I didn't really have any designs, many plans in my head, so I sort of just went along as and when really. So what I will be doing is I'll be talking through how I built the station, complemented by some construction photos, and then I'll just leave you with some photos at the end. So essentially there are 3 main sections to the building, starting with the middle, and passengers will come over the zebra crossing and then through these double sliding doors here, which I've tried to mimic using some paint. And then this will be the main forecourt of the station, where you'll have your departure boards, your ticket turnstiles, and a few seating areas. Over the back here would be some restaurants and some staff quarters, maybe some shops as well. And then over here, as passengers would go through the turnstiles, they would be either directed right or left. Right to go to platform 1, and then through here down to this footbridge, which will take them onto the platform, or left to come down here onto this footbridge, which will take them down to allow access for platforms 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now onto the actual construction. To start with, I wanted to get all of the walls done. These walls were done using some brick sheets from Slater's plasticard. I went over all the plasticard sheet with a sort of watered down light acrylic. Once that was dry, I got a damp cotton bud and just wiped off a lot of the excess, and then that was able to give me a fairly realistic mortar effect. I'll just try and focus that. Yeah. Where all of the mortar just sits and all the cracks and all the bricks are fairly clean. So I started with this little section here, which is just a small piece of wall with a simple fire exit door. I just cut out the slot for the door and used a bit of card which I had left over from a previous Metcalf kit and used that as a door. Just get that. The fire exit sign above it was done using Microsoft PowerPoint. Just found one on Google Images and shrunk it down, printed it out and then stuck it on. After that I moved around onto these 2 bits of wall here. This one was really simple, that's just a plain bit of wall. And then this one here had a window which I cut out and then stuck a clear bit of plasticard on. That stain you see is from the super glue from the roof. Unfortunately I haven't been able to get that off, so I guess you could just say that window is broken or it's a fog effect. The sections of plasticard were stuck to the baseboard with super glue and then gone over with a seam of poly cement just to help them bind a bit stronger. So after that piece it was on to this front section here, which really isn't that complicated. I cut 2 slits out for access to the footbridge. I have a picture of what this looked like before I added these 2 walls and roofs. Now they just hide the transition between the footbridge and the building a bit better, as there's about a 5mm gap, so a lot of passengers will be jumping to their deaths. I then added this back wall here. I haven't painted any of the back, as that's not going to be seen from any angles, so there's really no point doing it, which was nice and easy, so that sped up progress a bit. Then did this back wall here, which is a bit bigger, so I reinforced that with some box section and some rods to keep it true and straight, and also to help it stay a bit stronger. Next, this wall at the back here was done, and this one here, which also isn't painted because you won't be able to see that wall either. Just turn that round. Those 2 are quite simple. Next was this wall along the front. You'll see here that again there's another fire exit and fire exit sign done using the same method as the first one. These posters here were also done on Microsoft PowerPoint, finding a couple of images on Google and then shrinking them down and sticking them to a thin piece of plastic card for a bit of reinforcement and for a bit of relief. So you've got a London Midland map there. Obviously this station is operated by Virgin Trains, however London Midland trains would usually stop there. You've got a Virgin Trains poster, and that is a poster, if it will focus, for Greggs, which theoretically is inside the station. So then I had to do this front section, which was obviously the biggest one to do. The top bit was taken from rugby for inspiration, and that emblem was just done with using some plastic card again and painted and stuck on. I cut out these 3 sections here for the doors and the windows. These 2 windows were done by taking a clear bit of plastic card, sticking down a load of frog tape and then painting them and removing the frog tape to achieve some sort of frame design. These lights are from Kite's Lights. They're just the wall-mounted LEDs, which I bought, which I had spare from when I did the town scene lights. This bit at the front is a canopy just made of some clear plastic card with some rods for support. I think these letters are from Slater's. I got those from the model shop and they look the part, to be honest. Quite formal and a nice railway font. And then, like I said in the introduction, these sliding doors were made using some plastic card, which again has been painted with a design to mimic sliding automatic doors. So that's the main wall design, and the only thing I did add extra was these gutters. You can see they're done simply using some black rod painted, sorry, some white rod painted black. In a sort of satin finish, as you'd expect from a nice glossy guttering. So then the only job left to do then was the roofs. I had 3 separate roofs to do. These were done just by cutting out a piece of plastic card to fit the exact shape, and then I weathered them with, well, I painted them first with a sort of light concrete colour and then weathered them down with some enamel roof dirt paint airbrushed on. I added these rods to mimic roof joints in the building fabric on all 3 roofs. These dark areas you see on top, I have tried to make it look like some air vents for the ducting, and obviously you get a fair bit of build up of dust and dirt around those due to the air intake. What I've done then is lined all of the roofs with these plastic strips. I can't remember who these are by, I just found them in the model shop. I've painted them in brown match aluminium and then given them a slight weathering with the powder and then just stuck them all on. That was an inspiration taken from rugby, and I've done that on all of the roofs. For lighting inside the station, I used a dapole light bar from one of the coaches, as I've recently replaced that with one of the eBay ones with a capacitor, so I had that spare. That will run quite nicely on 12 volts, a little bit dimmer than what it should be, but it lights the inside of the station nicely. So that really is it, to be honest. I do apologise for this video not being quite as in-depth as the first 2, but I really was dreading doing this station build. On the scratch builds I've previously done, it's been quite easy, as I've been copying a design that's already been done, whereas with this I was making up a whole new building from scratch. So it hasn't been particularly easy, however I don't think I've done the worst job in the world, and the station suits the sort of area quite nicely. Let me just show you what it looks like now in the dark. So you can see that the inside is quite dimly lit. This obviously helps take attention away from the fact that it doesn't have an interior, but the outside lights light up the sort of front quite well, and overall it looked quite nice in the dark to go well with the rest of the lighting in the area. So that'll be all for today. Thank you for watching. Like I said, I do apologise for the lack of content on this video. I'll be back for part 4, which will look at the final part of the station build mini-series, which will be the car park and the road. So thank you for watching, thank you for staying tuned, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.